Centerville firefighters are dispatched to a scene of unimaginable horror after responding to a disturbing 911 call.
Hey, this is Roger. There's I think a house fire at 828 South Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see the flames?
There's smoke coming out of an open window and nobody's home.
Inside the house, reduced to ashes, they stumble upon a disturbing sight. They discover a male body, burned to death, identified as Timothy Pasa.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. What we got?
While the news shocked many, his wife, Barbara Pasa, was calm, sharing statements that gave the case a troubling turn.
Make sure that there's not any other system failures or something like that in his body. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think this was a heart attack or a stroke or anything like that. I just don't think that's going to be the fact.
Are you arresting me today?
Beneath Barbara's facade of innocence, detectives would soon uncover a twisted plot behind Timothy's death, a calculated move executed with a futile purpose.
We know that this happened.
Okay, so then you've made up your minds, kind of thing.
Barbara worked as a nurse at Mercy One Centerville Medical Center and had been married to Timothy for about 18 years. The couple seemed to be living a happy life with their 2 children, but little did they know their small world would soon come crumbling into ashes. On May 5th, 2018, Barbara and her children left the house around 7 a.m. to attend a soccer tournament, leaving Timothy asleep. After a while, she received a call from an officer informing her of the horrific incident that had unfolded. When Barbara arrived at the scene, detectives noticed her calm, composed demeanor stood in stark contrast to what they would expect from a grieving wife. However, this is not the only unsettling observation they made. As Barbara is brought in for questioning, each answer begins to expose the darkness lurking beneath a seemingly perfect family.
How was things going for him at work and at home?
Well, he was really stressed at work. At home, we've been married 18 years. Just kind of getting different. We had different interests, and I had been doing different stuff, and he was playing with the band again, and we were just kind of in a lull, just kind of hovering.
Right. I just had my 16th anniversary, so I kind of know that you kind of have those ups and downs.
Yeah.
And, were you guys just like still together, or were you guys thinking about going your separate ways, or? I always wonder. You kind of sometimes you stick together for the
fight,
kids.
and I'm just well know that every time, not just this year, other years when we fight, I tell him to leave, but he wouldn't leave his kids. I don't know that we were super strong and lovey-dovey, but we're still together.
Okay.
I'm not sure that happy would describe our relationship, but not unhappy.
Yeah.
We just kind of existed together.
You think your last major argument was a couple weeks before?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably over finances. I don't know. That kind of always stressed us out.
Right. Is that what you kept saying to make you stressed? Because from work, or was it mainly the finances?
Probably a combination of both.
Did you catch up to the bus? Did you see anybody?
No.
How far did you get? You said you didn't notice any phone calls?
Well, I was north of Gordon, and I finally got a ding.
Was that somebody telling you that there was an issue at your house, or?
My first one was Kate. She had screenshotted a Facebook thing from Shelby that her house was on fire.
Okay. What did you do then next then after you saw that?
Well, I pulled over and tried to make some phone calls. I think I tried to talk to her, and our phone got cut off. Kind of a blur. Because I didn't know, should I go get my kids? Because they were freaking out, I didn't know what to do. My first instinct is to protect my kids.
What were you told on the phone then?
That my house was on fire, and Beth Ann asked me, where we were at, because she didn't know. And I remember squealing out, Tim was in the house.
Did you ever try to call Tim?
No.
You know if anybody did?
I know when I didn't answer for my mom, she did. Because if she can't get a hold of me, she'll call Tim. And he didn't answer, so She was freaking out.
Anyone struck with such a tragedy would be utterly devastated. Yet Barbara displays an astounding calmness. Soon enough, the secret behind her composure would eventually come to light. During the investigation, neighbors told detectives that the couple appeared to live a perfect life. However, Barbara's statement reveals the dark reality behind the surface. Despite pretending a luxurious lifestyle, the family had been experiencing severe financial crises. This included overdue mortgage payments. This unsettling detail just scratched the surface. Detectives would soon uncover other incriminating evidence that would ultimately tear apart Barbara's facade of innocence.
I don't know if anybody else did or not.
And then, what did you do next?
Well, I finally figured out that I should turn around, and so I flew back. I guess I just assumed Tim was mobile and moving.
And then, I guess you got back. What did you see? You got home.
I think I either got a text or a call from Owen, and the neighbor kid had told him that he knew somebody was in the ambulance. So maybe that's when I tried to call Beth Ann again. And she told me I just needed to come to the house. She wouldn't tell me anything. And so when I pulled up, I parked, and I could tell by the look on Wayne Dooble's face. For sure.
And that's a lot to take in. What do you think maybe happened?
I don't know. I know that Mike was nice enough to fulfill my wish, well, not wish, my request to see him. And I hope to God he wasn't alive when that happened to him. You know, I don't know what happened. Tim's my husband. I can't say we were madly in love, but I loved him. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. You know, not knowing. Just, it's crazy.
So, you know, we need to look at all those aspects, but, you know, at the same time, we want to give individuals the opportunity if they maybe saw or heard something to help us with the investigation too, because, you know, we're going to put things together and it's going to come out, and we want to make sure that we have full understanding. You know, I don't want to jump to conclusions.
So you're considering me a suspect?
We're just trying to figure out what happened. I mean, I guess what would make you think that?
I don't know. I have never been through this process before. I don't know. I know you have to look at everybody, you know, if that's what you're thinking. I don't know.
Yeah, and Barbara, I've been doing this kind of like a long time, you know, and we're good at what we do, and that's why we come down here, and I think most families appreciate that, right?
Yeah,
want to know.
I'm just...
but I'm also a realist, you know, so I look at things and I prepare myself for if things come back different. Like, is there another explanation that I'm missing, you know? Sometimes the facts come together in a case and they point in one direction, and, you know, black and white, it might look like this, but there might be more of the story, and that's my job, is to talk with people,
right,
you know, to kind of get a better understanding, because I'm going to hear that maybe your relationship wasn't that well with him. And people are going to say that. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But
we didn't fight in public. We just... Tim, I'm more social for people that I like. Where Tim was just, you know, if you went up and talked to him on the fence, he'd talk to you.
Finances were a little tough.
Yeah.
You know, they definitely were. Looked like maybe you're behind a little bit on your house.
Well, we refinanced. We had been like 6 months behind. So we did a loan program. So we had gotten that back on track.
Do you guys have life insurance?
Yes, and I just had upped his policy.
Okay.
Mine, I'm kind of aware with my diabetes. I think there's $100,000 on me, plus I have 2 years of my salary. And I think at Alliant, his was just a year and a half. And so with their increments, we looked at going up more, but they'll only allow you to go up $25,000. So I had upped him through mine, and he'd gotten approved.
Okay.
And that was just something that we had talked about, because his brother died younger. And I really thought I had more on Tim before, but, you know, had missed this process. But, you know, we wanted to make sure our house, things were taken care of.
Mm-hmm. My goal here is that I prepare myself for what I think that maybe information is going to come out from the autopsy or from the fire investigation that's not going to maybe correlate with the information you're giving us. And the reason I say that is I want to be able to talk about that a little bit because I can understand stressors at home, and I talk with people, and I talk about relationships that you try for years to make right, and sometimes they don't get right, and no matter what you do, there's no good out. And then you add finances on top of that, there's a lot of stress going on. Wouldn't be the first person I talk to that is one of those tipping points for a relationship, because I don't think the candle started the fire.
Okay.
I don't think that happened. I think that you're right, the neighbors kind of were outside. I think that we want to kind of talk about maybe the timing of when the fire started, and then I'm worried what the doctors are going to find at the autopsy. I think maybe talk with some of the first responders about maybe not even wanting an autopsy done.
No, because not because I don't want to know what happened, because, Mike and I had that conversation, and it was to Mike.
Mm-hmm.
The whole cutting and pulling everything out, even in that shape, just...
Mm-hmm. And I just got to look at the totality of all that information and try to figure out what's going on and if there's other explanations for it. Because what I think is that maybe we're not being completely truthful about maybe the interactions in the morning. I think just talking here a little bit, we've had a little bit of inconsistencies on our conversation. So, that's my job, is I'm a fact finder. My concern is that there's going to be facts that come up that are suspect of something else happening. You indicate that you lit a candle, and if the fire guys end up saying fire wasn't started by a candle, and I can't find any other reason for it, I need to figure out what would happen, and why would a fire start in this room? Make sure that there's not any other system failures or something like that in his body. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think this was a heart attack or a stroke or anything like that. I just don't think that's going to be the fact. I think we're going to find some things that the autopsy is going to say he didn't die of the fire. I think the fire guys are going to tell us that the fire didn't start by the candle. And it's going to leave Mike and I to sit here and say, okay, maybe this was planned and something that Barbara thought about for a long time, or maybe it was one of those things where I just can't take life anymore, and it's the only thing I thought I could do to keep my family and keep Owen and Kate with me.
In the course of the investigation, detectives noticed an alarming detail. They discovered that the smoke detectors in the house were disabled. Barbara responds by claiming that Timothy had removed the batteries the previous night after she burned food while cooking. She further asserts that she lit a candle to mask the odor of dog urine, which may have accidentally caused the fire. Back at the crime scene, fire investigators found the candle laying on the left side of the floor. However, its bottom shows no signs of fire damage, indicating it had been placed after the fire started. With the mounting evidence, detectives grow certain of Barbara's concealment of the truth. Despite their assertion about the autopsy, she clings to her narrative, unaware that it will eventually become the very thing to turn the tables against her.
What do you think is going to happen when the medical examiner calls me up? Because I don't even need to wait for his call today to know that he's going to tell me there's some concerns here with his body.
I don't know.
How
Tim was in bed when I left.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think that that's going to be possible, that when you left that Tim was alive.
He was snoring.
And I think that the medical examiners might differ to that. But I'm telling you right now that nobody in this room believes that that's the true story. I think we're leaving some things out, because I see some pretty bad stuff, right? And I can go to bed and think that the worst, that Barb just wanted the money because she wanted her kids are almost out of school, she didn't have anything to do with them, she just wanted the money to live her life that she didn't get, right? Those are the things that come out. When I look at you, I see a mom that's worked all her years trying to put a good house before her kids. I see the bills coming up. I see Tim saying that he wants a divorce and he's going to leave you. Maybe the kids wanting to go with him, and you're losing everything that you worked so hard for, and your life come crumbling down. And I think you're looking for an out. And I think that's what that was, Barb. I think it was an out, and I think we'll find out what happened to Tim medically, and I think we'll find out that the fire was set afterwards to cover that up. Tim might have have been quiet towards you, but he wasn't quiet to other people about his relationship problems. He talked about the issues you guys had going on, and I put it with the facts that I see at the scene and the facts that I see at the autopsy. I'm gonna have to add all that up and see what it looks like. It's heavily weighted that you're at fault here. We all know that. I just don't want to get the wrong assumption. I want to get the true story out there, that this wasn't because you were angry at Tim. This wasn't because you were upset. I want to hear that this was done for the reason that you think they were. And I think I know. I think it's for your children. I think you really thought this was the best thing to be able to get them money that you need to survive, keep the house, keep the kids. You guys were going to get separated anyhow, Barb. You know that was coming.
We had lived in this kind of relationship probably for the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Just existing.
Mm-hmm. And that's not a good place.
No, it's not.
Did you
We
want a
always
divorce
have
and couldn't afford to get divorced? Is that a problem? That was a conversation
Yeah.
I'm sure you had.
Right, and I had that conversation with my 2 close friends. You know, financially we couldn't separate. Financially, you know, what would we do with the house? I could afford bills, but I couldn't afford for the kids to have their home, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, we just existed that way, and that's the way we were.
Mm-hmm. And without Tim's money coming in, you wouldn't be able to exist by yourself, right?
Right. But like I said, every time that we had gotten to that point, you know, I'm like, why don't you just leave?
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't leave. He wouldn't leave his kids.
Mm-hmm. In fact, he wanted to keep his kids.
Right.
Yep. And maybe he was even trying to get Owen on his side.
And I told
politicking.
Owen that day that when he said, Mom, why don't you go to just, would you be happier separated? I said, Owen, honestly, I have stayed this long because I wasn't sure you would go with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was closer to his dad. Because his dad was the easygoing one, and I'm the one yelled to clean your room, to do
But you're
this.
also the one that goes to all the tournaments and you
Right.
get his laundry done and you get all that.
Well, Tim did laundry most days.
Mm-hmm. And I get that. So at the same time, you're dealing with that struggle of I've given so much over the years for you. And now Dad, just because you want to be buddies, are politicking against you, trying to separate the family. Why can I understand that? I can understand when things get out of control. I just don't. Help me understand how it got to this point.
It didn't
Barb,
get to this point.
The evidence is going to show that. We're going to track all that back. And it's going to prove that something
The
happened.
only thing you're going to prove is I didn't go through cord and I cut through Russell.
Why wouldn't you tell me that?
I told him that Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Help me understand
I
that.
cut through there so I could drive faster because I was running behind. I don't exactly know what time I left town.
Mm-hmm.
But I stopped and got $200 out of the Farmer's Bank. I didn't do anything.
You started the fire.
No, I
In the
didn't.
house.
I set the candle there.
And the candle didn't start the fire.
Then I don't know.
Barb, look at it from our standpoint.
I know
right?
that.
Right, the fire starts moments after you're gone. Your neighbors are over there trying to pound on the window. Tim's not responsive. Your dog still lives, but Tim doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know why the dog lived. I don't know why this happened.
Right? And I think, on the inside, I think you do. I want to be able to put your story out there, Barb. I want people to understand what happened.
I'm not going to sit here and say I killed my husband. Just because I might be off 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. I did not.
I have some strong concerns about the stories that you've given because they've changed. I think when it comes out that the fire started and you leave and you drive away, and maybe you weren't, why those neighbors have to be outside? Because you didn't leave at 6:50, you left at 7:15. You get the phone calls. I think that everybody's calling you and I think you're scared to answer.
No, I wasn't. My phone was not working. I got text or voicemails today from Saturday because in the night I did some kind of update.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, how did I miss 7 voicemails? And they're from like Saturday.
As detectives question Barbara's friends, a clear motive emerges. The marriage was collapsing, and just weeks before Timothy's death, her resentment had reached a breaking point. Additionally, her phone records also showed that she had ignored multiple calls from neighbors who were alerting her about the fire, but she still delayed contacting emergency services. Even as detectives corner Barbara with incriminating evidence, she continues to lie her way out of the situation. However, the shocking details detectives uncovered next would ultimately lead her down a path behind bars.
I think in your mind, you were truly trying to do what you thought was best. But help us understand that.
I don't know what there is to understand. Are you arresting me today?
I'm here to listen to you, Barb.
I don't know what you want me to tell you.
That's what I'm here to do today. I'm here to tell you that I have talked with people like you before that have been in situations like this, that when they're pushed up against the wall and things didn't work out like they had planned, I try to talk with them to figure out why. I know how it happened. I know when it happened. I'm pretty sure I'm going to know exactly where and what time it happened. That's going to come out. I'm going to have all those facts, but one piece I'm going to miss is the why, Barb. And that's what everybody's going to want to know, why did this happen? I want to be here to be able to write that end of the story for you, Barb. I don't want to just use the who, what, when, and where. I want to know why things happen. That's important to me. It's not necessary. We could go forward with our case with the evidence we have, and it looks pretty damning. I think things add up, and as human beings, we can only take so much. And then we have to go into what can I do to keep some sense of normalcy? How can I keep my house? How can I keep my kids? And then we have choices to make. Help me understand how we got to where we did. Barbie, you shake your head, but you know I'm right. What was the breaking point for you?
I don't have anything to say. I didn't have a breaking point.
Do you understand where I'm coming from?
I do.
Right? You understand how it looks and what's going to happen. You understand. You watch the TV shows. You're in the medical field. You know they're going to be able to do toxicology and figure out what happened with him. That's going to come back on you. The fire didn't destroy his body. That's going to come back to you, and then it's just going to be evidence.
I don't understand, so I...
Well, then take me through it. What led up to that decision? Because we know...
There was no decision.
He didn't die on his own, Barb. Something happened that morning for you to decide that today is the day. I don't know if it was the timing of the school, him not wanting to go with you.
No.
It was just the opportunity.
I may be unhappy and depressed with life, but no.
And we're past that, though. No, Mike and I are telling you that we're way past on whether this happened by you, Barb, or not. We know that this happened.
Okay, so then you've made up your minds. Can I leave?
You're free to leave. It's not going to change things, though,
I
Barb.
know. It'll just prolong it to another day.
What's going to happen?
I don't
What
know.
am I supposed to-
I don't know what to tell you.
What am I supposed to tell Owen? What are you asking?
I don't know.
What am I supposed to tell his sisters?
I don't.
What happens when it comes back that maybe he is poisoned?
I don't know. Obviously, you have any answers, and I don't.
That's cool.
Despite Barbara's attempts to save herself, the autopsy revealed disturbing findings that eventually sealed her fate. It revealed a negligible amount of carbon monoxide in Timothy's blood and no smoke in his lungs, indicating that he had died before the fire broke out. The cause of death was respiratory failure, cardiac arrest, or a fatal drop in blood pressure, each traced back to the propofol present in his system. Investigators found Barbara had access to surgical anesthetics, including propofol, which led them to rule the death a homicide. Furthermore, witness testimony and ATM footage also contradicted her alibi about the timeline. Detectives believed Barbara's motive behind the vicious crime was to avoid divorce, collect the insurance amount, and eventually get rid of the impending debts. On May 18, 2018, Barbara Pasa was charged with first-degree murder and first-degree arson. In September 2019, Barbara was found guilty on both charges. 2 months later, she was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole and an additional 20 years for arson.